Congratulations, America! You've just gone through 18 months of presidential pregnancy. And guess what? On November the 8th, Election Day, you're finally about to give birth. Oh, the excitement, man! Will it be a boy? Will it be a girl? Well, what do you care, America? You're screwed either way. Yeah, well done. Listen, when you go to a restaurant, right, before you make your order, you sit down and you look at everything on the menu, right? Right, exactly. But in America, there are a bunch of people who don't do that for presidential elections. I find it mental just how seriously some people take their right to vote, right? But don't give a about making sure that they know about who they're actually voting for. Most people see their choice as either Trump or Clinton when there are other candidates. That is so unbelievably embarrassing. I'm ashamed for you. People take choosing their order at McDonald's more seriously than they do voting for president. Seriously, man, people can be so brainless at times. A worrying amount of people don't have a clue when it comes to politics and what kind of reasons should and shouldn't make you change your mind about voting for someone. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Like, let me just show you some of the worst examples that I know of. Back in 2004, right, Democrat Howard Dean's presidential run was ended because he ended a speech with a little enthusiastic scream.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House! Ah!
Did you hear that little scream, right? That, yeah, that ended his presidential campaign. News reporters heard that scream and reported it as being unpresidential, and the brainless sheep public just agreed with it somehow. Unpresidential. Listen, that makes no sense, right? In England, politician Ed Miliband's chances of becoming Prime Minister were ruined after someone took a picture of him eating a sandwich. Yes, that's right. A man's political campaign was ended because he ate a sandwich. And I'm not lying, by the way, right? That isn't a joke. There's even a Wikipedia page about it. What is wrong with people, man? Listen, do you see how bad people's judgment is with politics? Yeah! Now listen, let's just quickly get this out of the way, right? If I was American, who would I vote for? Okay, hear me out on this one, okay? In the same way that there are rules on the internet, right? There should be rules on what factors to consider for presidential candidates. If you want to steal my approach and take it as your own, please do. America. Part 1. And this should be rule number 2. Anyone who got to where they are today due to knowing someone influential, f*** them. Listen, they got to where they are because they had the unfair advantage of having influential people help them out. And that's bad. And if you don't believe me that that's bad, right, you clearly don't remember this guy. George Bush Sr. was president, right? And his son, as luck would have it, right, also became president. And we all know how badly that turned out, don't we? That's what happens when someone who's in the position that they're in because of knowing someone influential gets presidency. And guess what, mate? Both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton fall into these categories. Listen, it could be argued that Donald Trump wouldn't be where he is today if it weren't for his multi-millionaire dad. And also, right, Hillary Clinton knew someone influential as well, right? Listen, they did not rise to the top to the positions that they're at right now on their merits, right? They had an easy ride to the top because of their influential connections. If they didn't have the influential connections they did, right, she would still be a random lawyer and he would still be a leathery old man with an ugly wig. But great, if that should be rule number 2, right, what should be rule number 1? This. Never trust what a presidential candidate says during the presidential campaign, right? Never. Listen, as a politician, right, being president is the best promotion ever. And they will do and say anything during the presidential campaigns to get that promotion. Now, for example, Obama, when he said all this fantastic, wonderful shit about how he was going to get the troops out of Iraq and close Guantanamo Bay, etc., etc. Sounded wonderful, didn't it? Yet here we are 8 years later, with troops still in Iraq, and Guantanamo Bay is still open 24 hours a day, mate. A politician lying. Get out of here. Listen, a presidential candidate only has to keep you happy until the elections, not the 4 years after. Remember that. They'll care so much about you, right? Until you vote them into president, at which point the fake ones stop caring about you. Do you see what I'm saying? So what? Should I judge a candidate on grade? Definitely not what they say in the months leading up to the election, right? But I think, in my opinion, you should judge them on their actions in the past. Again, right? Everyone is going to pretend like they have your best interests at heart on their presidential campaign, aren't they? Your main concern should be finding out who had your best interests at heart years ago when no one was looking, when it didn't matter. Now, let me give you an example, right? I suppose you have a business and you're about to retire, right? And you have to hand over control to one of these two guys, John or Steve. Suppose John's been staying in the office late after work, right? But only for the past 2 weeks, ever since you advertised this promotion. But Steve, on the other hand, he's been staying late for the past 5 years, every day, ever since he joined, right? You can very clearly see who's putting on an act and who really cares, can't you? Just because a politician talks the good talk now, doesn't mean you should believe it. Again, when the promotion is around the corner, everyone will stay those extra hours at the office to look good to the boss. But you should be looking at who stayed extra hours when it didn't matter by looking at their pasts. And judging from their pasts, Donald Trump is not your guy, and neither is Hillary Clinton your girl. But do you know who was? Bernie Sanders. He was your guy, America. Bernie Sanders filibustered for over 8 hours back in 2010 because he was against extending the Bush tax cuts for the rich because he cared about the regular middle-class people. Bernie Sanders has supported gay marriage for decades, and Bernie Sanders was fighting for equal rights for black people back in the 60s. Bernie was America's guy who was staying extra hours after work for decades when no one was looking. Bernie Sanders, man. But Trump and Clinton, no, mate. They're just behaving now that the boss is looking for who to give the promotion to. Don't fall for that, mate. You're smarter than that. But similar to Bernie Sanders, right? Do you know who else has a long history of activism and going out of their way to help people and make a positive change, and even has a bunch of awards for doing so? In my opinion, Green Party candidate Dr. Jill Stein. Listen, go on Wikipedia and read up on her, right? Not only does she seem pretty decent, right? But she seems better than Trump and Clinton. Listen, again, don't believe what politicians say during their presidential campaign, man. This should definitely be a year for the third-party candidate, man. And I know what a lot of you are going to say, right? They're not going to win, Grade. Therefore, it's a wasted vote. Okay, let's analyse that statement. They're not going to win. Yeah, at this stage, the day before the election, right, they're not going to win. But it's a wasted vote? No. Now listen, voting third party is not a waste of a vote. Winning the presidency in America is all about, most importantly, money. Not politics, right? Money. And did you know that America apparently has some law, right, where if a third-party candidate can get 5% of the vote, the Federal Election Committee officially classifies them as a minor party, at which point they get access to upwards of $10 million to fund their next campaign in 2020. Did you know that? Probably not, right? Well, you do now. So do you see how getting above 5% would totally be a win for third-party candidates? Listen, Dr. Jill Stein, in my opinion, seems like a really good candidate, right? But there's also Gary Johnson too, so you make your choice. But research them both and consider voting for either of them. But listen, don't just take my word for it though. Read up on them yourselves. 5% would be a huge win for them both. Okay, but that's enough. I've gone on for way too long now. And because the elections are tomorrow, right, this is obviously the last of my political videos. No more politics, I'm going to be going back to my normal videos from now. Now listen, again, right, I'm not telling you who to vote for, but my main message is this. Consider voting third party just as much as you would these two. And if you've decided you're not going to vote at all, maybe you want to consider going out and voting for either Johnson or Stein. Get third party candidates to 5%.